Almost everything the movies have taught you about hearing from someone who died is wrong. I know because I was there. 400 times, maybe more. Sitting on the edge of a hospital bed at 3 in the morning, watching a good man take his last breath, watching a wife hold her husband's hand for the last time in this world. I have seen what happens in that room, and I have sat with the widow the week after, the month after, the year after, and I want to tell you something. You are not going crazy. That song that came on the radio last Tuesday when you were driving home, the one that was his song, and you had not heard it in 8 years, and you had to pull over because you could not see the road for crying. You are not going crazy. That cardinal that shows up on the fence post every morning by your kitchen window, the one you talk to now, God help you, you are not going crazy. And that afternoon 2 weeks ago, when peace fell on you like a warm blanket for no reason at all, and you sat down at the kitchen table and just breathed, you are not going crazy. Something is happening, and the church has a word for it. Stay with me, and I will tell you what it is. My name is Sister Ruth Bellamy. I have been a Catholic sister for 55 years, and I spent more than 30 of them as a hospice chaplain in Louisiana and Georgia. I called the priest, and I stayed. That was my job. He gave the sacraments. I sat with the family after he left, and I sat with the dying long into the night. Every death you can imagine, sweetheart, I have seen it. And in a Georgia hospice room in the spring of 2003, I met a woman named Miriam. Miriam was 78 years old, and she was dying of the second stroke. Her husband, Henry, had died 11 years before her. And on the third day I knew her, she reached out and grabbed my sleeve and said this to me. I have never forgotten it. She said, "Sister, I am afraid I will not feel him when I go. I have been talking to him for 11 years, and I do not know if he ever heard a word." I will tell you what Miriam said to me 3 nights later. It changed how I pray, and it changed what I teach. But before we say goodbye today, I am going to give you something, a short prayer, 12 lines. I prayed it at Miriam's bedside, and I have prayed it at 40 bedsides since. I will speak it slow so you can write it down. Keep it in your Bible or by the phone. That is my promise. Now, a while with me. The church has a phrase for what your heart already knows. She calls it the communion of saints. And it is not a poetic thing, child. It is the plain teaching of the Catholic faith that the living and the dead who belong to Christ are still one family, still one body, still connected through Him. The letter to the Hebrews says it right out. Chapter 12, verse 1. We are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses. A cloud is a real thing, but you cannot always see through it. That is exactly what Scripture is telling us. The people who loved you and went home to the Lord are not gone. They are with the Lord, and the Lord is not far. He is closer to you than your own breathing. The book of wisdom says, the souls of the just are in the hand of God, and no torment shall touch them. Think about that image for a minute. In His hand. Not out somewhere. Not lost. In His hand. So when I tell you now that your husband is not gone, I am not saying something soft to make you feel better. I am saying what the Catholic Church has taught for 2,000 years. Here it is. Write it down if you like. He is not lost to you. He is hidden in God, and God lets some things through. Say it again with me. He is not lost to you. He is hidden in God, and God lets some things through. Now what does he let through? I have listened to widows for 30 years, and I have started to notice patterns. There are 7 of them. 7 ways God, in his mercy, lets the ones who love you reach across the veil to comfort you. God has his ways, and his ways do not come through Ouija boards or seances. My grandmother, Miss Ophelia, who raised me on Domain Street in New Orleans, would have taken a switch to me if I had gone anywhere near that kind of thing. And she would have been right. God has a way, and his way is enough. Let me start with the first 3, because these you will recognize. The first one is the dream that felt different. You know the dream I mean. You have had 100 dreams about him since he died. Most of them are foggy or sad, or he is walking away from you again. But there was one, maybe 2, that was different. He was there. He was well. He looked at you the way he used to look at you before the sickness. And when you woke up, you did not feel worse. You felt washed. The church has always known that God speaks in dreams. He warned Joseph in a dream. He warned the Magi in a dream. Saint Padre Pio himself said the Lord sometimes grants us consoling dreams to strengthen faith. That dream was the Lord being kind to you. The second is the scent from nowhere. His aftershave in an empty hallway. Her perfume in your kitchen. Pipe tobacco in a house where no one has smoked in 15 years. You froze. You looked around. You cried. There is a Catholic tradition older than any of us, the odor of sanctity. When Saint Padre Pio was alive, people smelled roses where there were no roses. A scent that has no natural cause and brings comfort. The church has taken that seriously for a long time. The third is the song at the exact moment. Their song. On the radio. In the grocery store. On the day of the anniversary. On the day you were about to give up. Listen to me on this. St. Augustine, who was a great sinner before he became a great saint, tells us in his Confessions that he was sitting in a garden in agony over his life, and he heard a child's voice singing, "Take up and read." So he took up and read the Bible, and his life changed. Augustine did not call that a coincidence. He called it God. The God who arranged the stars can arrange the radio. Now let me take you back to Georgia, back to Miriam. 3 nights after Miriam had told me she was afraid Henry never heard her, I walked into her room around 11 o'clock at night. The hospice was quiet, just the hum of that big ceiling fan she liked to keep on low. I had a book with me. I was going to sit and read a while. But when I stepped through the door, I stopped, because Miriam was crying, and Miriam was smiling, both at the same time. I said, "Sweetheart, what is it? Are you in pain?" She shook her head. She reached her hand out. The left one still worked a little, and she took mine. And she pulled me close to whisper. "Sister," she said, "I just had a dream. I was in our kitchen in Macon, the one with the yellow curtains, and Henry was standing at the sink washing his hands the way he used to before supper. And he did not look at me for the longest time. And then he said, 'Sister, I swear to you,' he said. 'No bud,' he said. 'You kept it, didn't you?' And then I woke up. I asked her what he meant. And that was when Miriam told me about the rosary. She had been carrying the same rosary since the day she got married. Blue glass beads, small silver crucifix. Henry had bought it for her at a little shop in New Orleans on their honeymoon in 1948. And sometime in the 1970s, one of the beads, a single blue bead near the crucifix, had come loose and fallen out. She had never replaced it. She could not bring herself to, and she had never told a soul, not her sister, not her daughter, not the priest. But Henry, in her dream, had asked her if she had kept it. She was staring at me with wet eyes, and she said, "Sister, how? How could he have known? I never spoke of that missing bead to anyone, not once, in 55 years. And then she asked me the question that changed how I pray. She asked me a question that every widow in America has asked in the dark at some point. And I would guess, my dear, you have asked it too. I am going to tell you what Miriam asked me, and I am going to tell you what I said back to her. But first you need to hear about the 4 remaining signs, because one of them, the 4th one, the one I put in the title today, is the one I most want you to understand before you go to bed tonight. If you take nothing else from an old nun in one afternoon, please take that one. Come back with me. The 4th sign. This one, do not ignore. The 4th sign is the sudden urge to pray for him out of nowhere at a strange hour. You are washing dishes. You are watching Wheel of Fortune. You are just about to fall asleep, and out of nowhere, the thought comes, pray for him. Most people brush it off. They think, oh, that is just my mind. That is grief. That is my imagination. Baby, I am here to tell you, respectfully but firmly, you do not know that. The Catholic Church teaches something called intercessory prayer, and she teaches that it goes in both directions, between the living and the dead. The Catechism says that the prayers of the faithful for the souls in purgatory are heard and are effective. And she also teaches, this is the part your Protestant friends may not have told you, that the souls in purgatory can ask for prayer. They cannot pray for themselves once they leave this life. They cannot earn one more grace for themselves, but they can, through God, put a tug on the sleeve of someone who loves them, and that tug feels like a thought that comes with no reason and will not let go. The church does not say every stray thought about your husband is that, but she teaches that many of them might be. She teaches that when the thought comes with weight, with a warmth that will not let go, you should treat it as if it is real, because you have nothing to lose by praying for him, and you may have everything to gain. And if he is already in heaven, your prayer is not wasted. God will pour it out on somebody who needs it. So when that urge comes at 10 o'clock at night while you are brushing your teeth, stop what you are doing. Say his name. Say a Hail Mary. Say an Our Father. Offer a Mass for him this Sunday. That is the 4th sign, and I am begging you not to ignore it. The 5th is the visit from a small creature, the cardinal that comes to the window, the butterfly in October when there should be no butterflies, the stray cat that showed up on the porch 3 days after the funeral and would not leave for a week. I want to be careful here. He is not that cardinal. His soul is not living in a bird. That is not what the church teaches, and I will not tell you that. But the God who made the cardinal and made your husband can send you both a cardinal and a comfort in the same moment. Providence, we call that, and providence is real. The 6th is the object that reappears. The watch you thought you lost 15 years ago that turned up in a drawer you have opened 1,000 times. the photograph that fluttered down from a shelf you never touched, the letter he wrote you in 1972 that showed up between the pages of a cookbook. And the seventh is the peace that falls on you for no reason at all. You wake up one Tuesday morning and it is a hard day. It is his birthday, or it is your anniversary, or it is just a day that has been eating at you for a week. And by the afternoon, without warning, without earning it, peace falls on you like light through a window. St. Ignatius of Loyola calls that consolation without cause, and he said it is one of the ways you can tell God has been in the room. Now, I promised you a moment, woman to woman, and here it is. You are a woman. You have known things with your body that men rarely understand, and that some men have been dismissive of your whole life. You knew when your husband was getting sick before he ever mentioned it. You knew when one of your babies cried in the next room before you consciously heard him. You know when the phone is about to ring with bad news. That is not superstition, child. That is the way God made you. And that instinct did not die when he did. So when your body tells you something is here, do not shush your body. Take it to God. Test it against the church. And trust that the same Lord who gave you that knowing when your husband was alive did not take it away the day he died. Now let me tell you what Miriam asked me. She was still holding my hand. She had told me about the missing bead. She was crying and smiling at the same time. And she looked me in the eye and she said, "Sister, is he coming for me?" I sat with that question for a minute. I did not answer her right away because I wanted to give her the truth. And the truth was a little more beautiful than what she was asking. I said, "He is not coming. He is already here. He is in God, waiting." She closed her eyes, she nodded, and she went back to sleep with the rosary in her hand. Miriam died 3 days after that. It was a Thursday afternoon in April, and the light was coming in that window sideways, the way it does in Georgia in the spring. She had the blue rosary in her right hand, the good one, the one that still worked. I was sitting by the bed. I had already called the priest, and he had come and he had gone. I stayed. Her breathing had gone slow, the way it does at the end. And then, all of a sudden, her eyes opened, wide open, clear. She looked at me. She was not confused. She was not afraid. And she said, "Sister, he was never gone. I was just not listening the right way." And then she was gone. I sat with her for another hour before I called anyone. And I want you to hear me on this. I did not sit there thinking Miriam had talked to Henry from beyond the grave like some ghost story. I sat there thinking about the goodness of a God who would give an old woman one blue bead in a dream so that she could die knowing her husband had heard her all along. The Lord doesn't waste a single tear, my dear. He does not waste 11 years of a widow talking to her husband in an empty kitchen. He gathers those years up like a mother gathers the hair off her daughter's shoulders, and he does something with them. He does something. He is not lost to you. He is hidden in God, and God lets some things through. Say it with me one more time. He is not lost to you. He is hidden in God, and God lets some things through. That is what happened in Miriam's room. That is what has been happening in your kitchen. That is what the church has taught for 2,000 years. You are not going crazy. You are being loved by a God who never stops. Now I promised you a prayer. I am going to give it to you. I call it the bridge prayer because Jesus is the bridge. Every word you have wanted to say to your husband, he is the one who carries it. Get you a piece of paper. Get you a pen. I am going to speak it slow. Lord Jesus, you are the bridge between the living and those who sleep in you. I do not speak to him without you. I speak to him through you. Take this word of mine and here, baby, you say his name. Say it out loud. Do not be ashamed. Take this word of mine and carry it to him in your mercy. And if it is your will, let some small comfort come back to me. But if not, let me trust that you have already given him mine. Amen. That is the prayer. Write it down. Say it before you sleep. And I want to ask you to do one small thing tonight. Just one. Before you turn off the lamp, go to the photograph on the dresser or the one by your bed or wherever you keep him. Put your hand on the frame. Say the bridge prayer once, and then say his name 3 times. Just his name. Slow. That is your tonight. Nothing more. And when you get a minute, write his name in the comments below this video. Just his first name. I keep a notebook, you know, and I will pray for him tonight before I go to sleep myself. That is not a promise I make lightly. I have been keeping that notebook for 4 years. You have kept an old nun company today. Thank you for that. Come back to see me. I will be here. God bless you.